Hey guys, welcome to a new edition of Tech Tip Tuesday, where today we are going to focus on virtual field trips and kind of what they are, how you can use them in your classroom, and really what benefit do they have. So first of all, let's kind of talk about what a virtual field trip is. So a virtual field trip is a experience that you can give your kids with technology to kind of allow them to experience a different place or meet a different person, and to have sort of that virtual or that field trip experience, but with never leaving the classroom. There's lots of benefits to doing a virtual field trip. First of all, cost. It's going to be possibly free, if not less expensive than doing an actual field trip. The other thing is you don't need permission slips, so it's kind of nice. It's a little bit more convenient for you. You also are going to have a lot of more simple ability to schedule this. It's not like with an actual field trip where you have to go through and pick certain days and work out bus schedules and all that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit more simple. And then also it just creates a really great experience to connect your students to your content. So there's a lot of great things you can do with the virtual field trip. And there's quite a few resources out there. If you just Google search virtual field trip resources, you're going to find a bunch of stuff. I'm going to put a couple different links down in the description box of websites that I have found that have some great options for virtual field trips. I will reference some of those throughout this video, but if you want to hop ahead to those links, those will be down in the description box. Also, in this video, we're going to kind of focus on the three main types of virtual field trips. So if you want to skip ahead, I'll give you a little timestamp for that here in a second. But basically there's three main types. The first type is just sort of the video virtual field trip. And this, we'll talk about this in a minute, but that's the first one. The second one is the VR, AR virtual field trip. Virtual reality, augmented reality type of virtual field trip. And then the third one is the virtual meeting field trip, where you kind of use Google Meets or Zoom or something along those lines to do your field trip. So if you want to skip ahead to one of these, if you know about some of them already and you just want to skip ahead, I will put the timestamp somewhere over here, and you can hop ahead to that part in the video to hear about that specific one. Okay, so we're going to first talk about the video virtual field trip. And this is probably the most common type of virtual field trip that you might find if you start searching for different options. Now, the reason why this is common is because it's super accessible. All you really need in your classroom is a TV or projector or a smart panel of some kind, and you can show this field trip. It's basically just a video of someone maybe giving a tour or demonstrating something, or maybe showing a science experiment to your kids. And there's a variety of lengths. So this is another benefit. You might find one that's only 15 minutes and it doesn't take a huge amount of your teaching time, but there's ones out there that maybe take a whole hour. So it just sort of depends. There's lots of different options for the video virtual field trip. Now, one great resource for this is this website that comes from We Are Teachers, and this has 25 amazing educational virtual field trips. Now, this website, not all of these are this video format, but I would say the majority of them are. So as you kind of scroll through, there's a lot of really great options out there. Like this one, for example, is pretty neat. NASA teamed up with Nickelodeon to show some experiments with slime in space. So it's pretty neat, but it is what it is. It's a video, so it has limited interactivity. So they are very neat. This one, there's a lot of live cams from zoos you can get. This one is, they're giving you a tour of an aquarium, this Farm Fresh 360 is pretty neat. It's a lot of different 360 videos you can watch of different farming types of things. Lots of great stuff out there, but it's limited because it's a video. So if you do one of these kind of things, you really need to have some sort of companion materials to go with it. And a lot of these things come with companion materials. This NASA Nickelodeon one, for example, if you click on it, there is a bunch of different things that you can do in terms of companion materials. to give your kids as they watch this video, because you need that interactive element, because it is, like I said, it's still kind of just watching a video. It's not too much different than putting on a Bill Nye video or something, but it's still a virtual field trip because you are kind of going somewhere and meeting someone new, experiencing something. It's just not super personal. So that's kind of the first type of virtual field trip out there that we can do. Okay, the second type of virtual field trip is the VR AR version of a virtual field trip. Now, VR is virtual reality, AR is augmented reality, and both of these things are really neat, and it's a great experience for your students. So, in terms of virtual reality, virtual reality means that you're going to get to view a place. Someone has probably photographed or taken video with a 360-degree camera, so you're going to use your own handheld device. This is important to know. It doesn't really work always on a computer or Chromebook. You might need a handheld device like an iPad or a phone, which the majority of students have phones, but you need one of these devices to kind of experience this thing in a 360-degree environment. So a lot of times this is visiting a museum. There's lots of museums out there that have a 360-degree self-guided tour where you kind of go in and it's almost like you're in Google Earth and you can kind of explore from one exhibit to the next, to the next, to the next. Sometimes they're guided where it's kind of a narrator is telling you what to do and you kind of go from here to here to here. There's also Google Expeditions, which is my favorite thing to use for this type of virtual reality tour. So on your phone or on your iPad, you're going to get the app for Google Expeditions. So when you're in Google Expeditions, you can see there is a whole bunch of different options. There are tons of different things in Google Expeditions. You can search the tours up at the top. You can kind of scroll through to see them. But the main thing is you need to know that some of them have this little VR underneath and some of them have a little AR. That means one or the other. So I'm going to pick one that's VR. And you first will, let's see, I'm just going to do this International Space Station. You first will need to download it, so you do need to click download to view or guide. It's going to take a second and then it's going to say view in VR or guide. If I am doing this with my class, I would most likely want to guide it. When you guide a tour in Google Expeditions, that means that your students are going to stay in the same place as you. If you just allow them to kind of view it on their own, they're going to be hopping around from place to place to place, which if you feel confident in your students' ability to stay focused, maybe you can do that. But if you want it to be more controlled, you will need to do this guide. I'm just going to click view in VR first. And it's going to want me to put my phone into a VR viewer. You can kind of see how it's got these two things. Now, if you want to go all out with this, there's a lot of these little things like this that I can kind of slide on my phone and hold it up to my face and view in VR. We also have things like this, Merge. This is the Merge product. A lot of people got years ago. I like these because you can pull the straps off and they're foam, and I could throw this on the floor and it's not going to break. They're not super cheap. They used to only be 15 bucks and I think they now cost like 40. But this is a great product to get if you're going to do this a lot. You slide your phone in there and then you really feel emerged or immersed in the VR, but you don't have to use these things. This little box at the very bottom right of my screen, if I click on that box, it then just makes it full screen, and then I can just sort of hold my phone up and move it around to see the space. And this is really cool, especially if you have your students sitting in a swivel chair with iPads, and they can kind of go from place to place to place. Some of these are narrated, so it will just start reading it for you. This one's not, but I can kind of click, and you might see there's a little white dot right in the middle. What I do is I click that white dot, or I move that white dot onto something that I want to click. So if I want to see the different scenes, I move it there and then I tap my screen and I can see I can skip ahead to another scene. Let's see, I want to go to this one. All right, so now I'm in this Japanese experiment model. I can kind of zoom around It's pretty neat, the different stuff you can see here in this virtual reality environment. So this is virtual reality. Like I said, I would recommend doing this as a guided tour, so then you can be kind of guiding your students through this. They can be watching on their own device. You could essentially AirPlay this to your screen. It's kind of up to you how you'd want to do it. Let me get out of here. But it's a really fun option. Now, the other option in terms of this type of virtual field trip is AR. So AR essentially means it's going to take an object and make it appear to be in your space. So I'm going to click on this Da Vinci's Inventions. We're going to click download to view or guide. It's going to take a second, and now I can view an AR or I can guide. Again, I recommend guiding these as a teacher. It keeps your students on the same object. It keeps everyone in the same place. But for the sake of demonstrating this, I'm going to click View in AR, and it kind of tells me I need to move my phone around. It's looking for a place to put it. All right, so we're going to tap to place my object. Okay, and so now I've got my Renaissance man, and I can walk all around him. I can get really close to certain things. Oh, it lets me go inside apparently. But it lets me see all this neat stuff. So let's switch to this one. Ooh, okay, so now I've got this thing that I can look at, and like the students can get up and walk around and look at it as if they're in the space. It's pretty interesting and neat to see. So let me exit out of this one too. All right, so VR or AR are a really fun option for a virtual field trip. A couple things I would recommend with this though. Number one, the guided tour is generally most efficient with your students, so I often recommend the guided tour. The other thing is you need some companion material to go with this. So when I have done this previously in the classroom, I always make some sort of worksheet for them to do, something along the lines of this. Let me zoom in this a little bit. So I can have the kids record what the expedition is going to be, give some before questions, some predictions, and then some notes during it. They're going to draw a picture. After, what do they think? So it gives them something to do along with it. So they're not just kind of running through all this stuff. But it gives them that ability to have a learning companion along with the VR and AR. Now, Google Expeditions is not for you because it's not for everyone. And if you don't have iPads and you don't believe that all your students are going to have phones, or this is going to work with phones in your room, there's lots of websites that offer this type of virtual reality, not as much as the augmented reality tour. So, for example, we've got the Smithsonian, or the National Museum of Natural History, which is a Smithsonian. They have a whole bunch of tours. Let me just click on one here that I can go, and it's the same type of thing. I'm going to be on my screen and I can explore this. Of course, I have to kind of click and drag, and it's going to move me around. I can see the different exhibits. I can see where I am in the building, and it's pretty neat. Now, this is another one that you could do guided. Like, you could put this up on the screen in your room and do it, or you could send each kid to it and just allow them to explore. So it's a really neat virtual reality option if you don't have the handheld device option to do with Google Expeditions. One perk with both of these things, though, is that it is exciting. I will say I've done these a handful of times with students, and they get super excited about it. It is one of the best ways to really connect your students with your content. They will be loud and excited and talking about it, which that may or may not be something that's exciting to you. However, it's really fun for them. It's a great, exciting educational experience for them. So yeah, add a little structure to it and it will make it be a lot easier. But these kind of tours are super exciting and super fun, and I definitely recommend doing this type of virtual field trip. Okay, the last type of virtual field trip we're going to talk about is the virtual meeting type of virtual field trip. And basically what this means is you're going to set up something through Zoom or Skype or Google Meets where you're actually in real time meeting with or talking to a person or seeing a tour of some kind. Now these kind of virtual field trips, quite honestly, are probably the most interactive in terms of the educational experience, because it really allows the kids just to see something in live, real time, as if they were truly there. Now, there's a few different options for this type of virtual field trip. Now, first of all, there's a lot of resources out there. This Field Trip Zoom, which is an organization that basically puts these together for you. So if I click on programs and I just want to do a pay per program, you can actually get a subscription to this, which is very expensive, or you can buy one. So say I want to find something specific, I can do different searches for grade levels, categories, keywords, or I can kind of scroll through, and there are literally hundreds of places that offer these. So we're just going to click on Denver Museum of Nature and Science, and it's going to show me some different options. So it gives you some specific things that I could see. So say I really want, my students are studying the heart, and we want to do this one. So this is for grades 3 through 5. It's about an hour. It gives a class size. It costs $140. So I can click on the plus sign and get a little bit more information, or actually schedule this. Obviously, this is going to be something that costs money. $140 though is probably going to be a lot less than what you would pay for an actual field trip though. So in my mind, it's definitely worth it. And it's live. So it means you're actually going to be with a person at this place, and they're going to take you through either their exhibit or they're going to show you something specific. A lot of times you can get little previews for these if you wanted a little bit more information on what it's going to be like. But these are really, really cool because it's an actual person. Now, if you don't want to spend this kind of money, but you want to do this type of field trip, however, if you just have a contact, or you get in touch with maybe a local zoo or a museum nearby, or even a professional person who works in an industry that your students might be learning about or want to know more about, you can kind of set these up on your own, send them a Google Meets link, project it up on the TV or the screen or the smart board or smart panel that you have, and you can still do this. All you need is a webcam hooked up to your computer in your classroom, or even you could be airplaying it through your iPad to your screen to do this on your own. I've done this before with, my dad is a former Caterpillar computer engineer. He is retired now, but when he used to work at Caterpillar, I actually did this with a class where we did a Zoom meeting with him. He kind of gave a tour of some of the facilities at Caterpillar International in Peoria. And then the kids got to basically interview him. And so it wasn't so much, it was almost more about a job understanding for them to kind of learn about what this job can be and what job options, especially job options in math, because technically that's a job that you would have a degree in some type of math to do. And so it was a way for them to kind of get some career understanding. So you can do virtual field trips like that too if you just know someone, or maybe you know someone who knows someone, and kind of set it up that way. And that can be free. So it's a really nice option in terms of getting the kids that outside experience without ever having to leave the room, without scheduling. I mean, there obviously is some scheduling involved, but it's a lot less, and getting that connection to the content, this real life experience, to give them what they might get in a field trip, but virtually. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope this gave you some great tools and options for doing a virtual field trip in your own classroom. As always, let me know if there's other questions you have, or if there's something that I can help you out with this, or if you have requests for future Tech Tip Tuesday videos, let me know and I will get right on these. This specific one was a request. So if you have something you want to see or you want to know more about, please let me know, and I will get working on it. All right, have a great week, everyone.